Welcome back to Pace Immigration, talking once again with immigration lawyer Andy Semichuk from Pace Law Firm. We're going to do our speed round, where we're going to answer questions that we're getting on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Go through a few of those questions that we got last week, Andy, and see if you can make heads or tails of them and help some people out. How's that sound?
Wonderful.
Okay. The first one we have is, hi, please let me know info about the temporary foreign worker program and after how long a person can get a permanent resident card on the Canadian experience basis.
Okay, the temporary foreign worker program involves an application by an employer, so you have to have an employer in Canada that's sponsoring you, and it's a two-step process. The first step is to go through Service Canada, where they apply for a labor market opinion, which is a document that shows that the employer has made efforts to try and find a Canadian worker who is ready, willing, and able to take a position before offering the job to a foreign worker. Sounds impossible, but it's doable under the right circumstances. And then once that step is taken, then the temporary foreign worker is extended the opportunity to file for a work permit overseas to come to Canada to fill that relevant position. That's usually probably about 6 months, 6 to 8 month kind of effort if the worker is overseas somewhere.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. It says here, are Indian degrees in engineering and MBA and Indian industry experience of 10 years in top management recognized by Canadian companies for jobs?
Okay, they are. The key thing, though, if you want to be smart about it, is get your credentials certified by Canadian Credential Authority, and you can usually get that through the universities. So, for example, in Toronto, you might approach the University of Toronto, and they can guide you on finding the relevant group that will certify your credentials and basically translate them into Canadian terms. Same applies in the United States, by the way, if you want to get your credentials certified in the United States and get work in the United States. Yeah.
Let's go on to the next question here. It says, hi, I want to know details about low-skilled occupation for processing an application. After getting a low-skilled occupation, can I change it to skilled worker? Is there any option to check that under the LMO?
Yes. So if you're a low-skilled worker, or it looks like you can get an offer of a job in the low-skilled category, you can, in some circumstances, get an LMO, labor market opinion, which would make it possible for you to come as a low-skilled worker to Canada. I know, for example, Tim Hortons was hiring people from the Philippines in that kind of a category. But in order to be able to qualify to stay in Canada permanently, they have to work their way up to a skilled worker category. And the way they do that is they become managers. Okay. If they become a manager at Tim Hortons, for example, they thereby become eligible to ultimately qualify for the Canadian experience class that I mentioned earlier, and in 2 years be eligible to apply to stay in Canada permanently.
Excellent. Okay. It says here, I'm from India and I'm doing a BSc nursing, a 4-year degree. In October of 2012, I will apply for Canada. I guess that means apply for residence in Canada or something. I want to take the admission in the Master of Science Nursing. Please tell me, is that possible or not? So sorry, I'm just going to sum this up. I guess she's getting her nursing degree. She wants to come to Canada and do the Masters of Nursing. How does that work?
Okay. She can do one of two options. One is work for a year as a nurse overseas and thereby qualify under the skilled worker category in the self-petitioning occupations in high demand category. So, in other words, she doesn't need an employer to sponsor her. And I think that's probably the preferred one because she can go to work and make money. But the other one would be come to Canada, be accepted, but the key is be accepted at a university here for a master's in nursing. And then once having been accepted, post-graduation, you'll get a 1-year work permit as a result of being a graduate from a university, work for the year, and thereby qualify to apply for permanent residence in Canada. Either way works.
It sounds like the better option then is always to have some kind of employment so you've got some money coming in so you're not so reliant on getting that permit.
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
If possible, yes.
Excellent. That's it for the speed round. It took a little longer, but we wanted to get a bunch of questions in there. Don't forget, visit us on our Facebook page at Canada Immigration on Facebook and write down any questions you want on the wall, and we'll try to get to them with Andy. We try and come back every week and make sure that we can give you some good information. Andy, thanks once again.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.